That's good.
All right, so we have the doulas in the building. Those who are just tuning in for the first time for Misconceptions. Misconceptions about conception is a segment that focuses in on, I like to say, the myths, truths, and rights when it comes to birthing, and also addressing what is called the Black maternal health crisis, where we see high numbers of Black mothers and babies, maternal and maternal deaths during birth, after birth, and just those numbers are getting big, and just a lot of abnormality, with all of these extra medical interventions that are not necessary and different things that's going on and with Black mothers and babies when it comes to birthing. And so we want, we just addressed that. We've been doing it for 4 years. I was inspired to do it due to the fact that, my 4-year-old now, I was pregnant with him, and I really wanted to make sure my 19-year-old experience was not good. And so I really wanted to, have a better experience. And so I did all the research I could. And when I was coming up on this information, I was like, whoa, this is deep. Everyone needs to know. I always got to share everything, and so it was like, okay, I need to, let this information be known and go ahead and do a special. I did a special at first, and it was like, everyone loved it. I was 9 months pregnant. Everyone loved it. I had Mama Saran. She's one of our granny or grand. They don't like being called granny midwife. She is so many people walk around here grown that she didn't deliver, And so, she was one of the first with Mama Lydia. I had a researcher out of Georgia State University, Dr. Ryan McAllister. He was very inspiring to me when I was doing my research, and he did a lot of videos and documentaries about all of this. He saluted the midwife as a white guy, and he really would, really salute the midwife and push the importance of it. But his research was impeccable when it came to circumcision, when it came to the CSections, the issues with it. He was on with me. And so at the same time, people loved it. They loved it. So it went from a special to a monthly thing, and it's been going for 4 years. And thanks to Sheriese Berry, who is a midwife, traditional midwife, who is a big part of creating the doula network and everything. She created it, or is she a big part of creating it?
I believe. Yeah,
she's dope, and she's my co-producer for the segment. She's not here this time, but because of her, I know you too. Yeah. And she helped to keep it going strong because she's in that industry, and it's just been a blessing because people really come up to me a lot and thank me for doing this segment. And I mean, I got nominated for awards and everything for this segment, And so we want to just keep it going strong. We have the documentary actually going. Oh, I'm so excited about that. We just we just had Blue Pill do a piece for the documentary. Big up Spurgeon, who is the producer of the documentary, and really the video. He's really good at what he does. Both of you know you already tied. You already got some parts in the documentary as well. Yeah. We're gonna do a trailer with what we have already, and we're going to create a GoFundMe so that we can raise more funds to be able to really do it right. But the trailer's going to be crazy because it's already beautiful, and the information is so powerful and hard hitting, and it's just something that's needed. I know Ricky Lake did one called "The Business of Being Born,"
right?
And that one focuses in on the same type of thing, but now we're going to focus on melanated babies.
That's right.
In mamas, and making sure that we understand that is an issue in itself. It's conditions with that in itself that needs to be focused on and addressed. Absolutely. So we're going to focus on that. And so, having my sisters, we have Ty Edie, who is a doula who actually has a doula house.
I do.
That is so powerful. It's on Airbnb, isn't it?
It is on Airbnb.
Okay, well, she takes care of, I'll let her tell you about it. And she's also a comedian. She's funny. Yeah. She got this thing called Know Who the Mama Is.
Yeah, I'm pregnant and I don't know who the mama is. Yeah, I know how it go.
Yes, and then we have who we call her the Quiet Storm. She's coming on InI Radio. We call her that because she be all quiet and cute and stuff. But when she get to going, the information that come out this woman's mouth is like, whoa.
Absolutely.
Yes. So this is Nina. Just Nina?
Just Nina. I'm known as Nina, and my other name is Ma'adim Tinuab. So some people know me as Ma'adim Tinuab, and some people know me as Nina.
Okay.
It's my born name, and I answer to both because I relate to both. They're the same. So,
All right. Well, I thank you so much for doing what you do and being who you are, because you're so powerful in your own right as a doula yourself, and you're just so, full of information. So, misconceptions about conception. I'm feeling energy from somebody who's hearing this for the first time. I keep feeling that, so I feel things like this when I'm on the radio, so I kind of like follow that. And so I want to just cover our basic topics, our hot topics today, and so let's talk about the C-sections being at an all-time high right now, and that's one of the hot topics of misconceptions about conception. And what is the problem with C-sections? What is the purpose of them, and how are they being overused, and how? Talk about that.
You go ahead. I'm gonna follow up.
They are absolutely being overused. Recently, as a matter of fact, on yesterday, it's funny that this topic would come up today, because I met a young lady who shared a story with me about her pregnancy, and her sister-in-law's pregnancy. And her sister-in-law is pregnant now, and this will be her 4th C-section. However, the doctors, wherever she's delivering at, or whoever her doctor is, has warned her that with this C-section, her life is at risk. She has a 50-50 chance of living, because she had 3 C-sections already, and they cut along the same line each time. So now it's created some problems.
See, that's the thing about this.
Space.
And this is the thing about this. They push this like it is such a common, easy thing to go through. This is a major surgery.
Yes.
You're cutting through muscle. You're cutting through. And not only that, Blue Pill was touching on how it's artificial.
Yes.
You got an artificial energy with scheduling these things. How you going to schedule the baby's birthday? How you going to schedule? This is something that you just have to naturally let happen.
Yes.
And so they're not only doing the C-section so much more now, it's becoming this practice to
it's
keep
a normal thing.
Scheduling them.
It's like the end thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a part of the style. You know what I mean? To get a scheduled C-section, say this baby is due around your birthday. Oh, I want the baby to be born on my birthday, So you're kind of messing up things. And I believe in, things happening in natural order. And that's not natural order. So with this child, what is that going to create for this child? What is that going to create for this mother? And you're not allowing for the child to go through the natural birthing process, which affords the child those extra those extra bumps that it needs, as far as its gut health, even. Because
they're
not receiving
that bacteria through the vaginal canal.
And this is just not, it's becoming so much of the norm that it's not being questioned by many, So it's being accepted by all, not all, but the ones that are really inundated with that Western perspective, that this is what it is. I can just have a C-section, and not considering the healing that is needed following the C-section, because it's more than just sitting.
Yeah.
It's more than that. You have to nurture that womb. You have to really prep that womb in the proper way. You've heard of people's wombs being opened again. They move too much, they feel too much negative emotion, and then the womb starts to be agitated, and then they have to get up. And this is a whole thing, because this whole like maternal death piece for Black women, there's a connection between that and the village, or lack thereof. We say, where's the village nowadays? You don't really see the village in a lot of these women's lives. It's becoming an absent thing. I grew up with the village. I know what it's like to be supported, and to know that I can reach out for support. It's either one or the other these days. Either they're not being supported or they're not reaching out for support, because they don't feel like they're going to be received.
And let me just say this, like, when I got into the birth world, it was a calling. It was situations and circumstances that led me here. Before that happened, getting a C-section and taking drugs was a normal thing. That's how I thought that it was going to go down, because that's what the talk was about, you know. And then when I fell into this game, then I had started to get all of the information. So being conscious of it, you know what I'm saying, I know, you know, how to go inside and in a way, when I have clients, I have to think about what they did not grow up with. You know, as a doula, you go through these trainings where you have to go through every culture and you observe how they do things. If someone is, if they light some type of incense, or they're smoking some type of herb, that's how they do it, you know. And as a doula, we don't go in and say, hey, you can't do that, you know, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I mean, in some way we get our information across, but when we're inside of an environment, we kind of just, you know, play our role, and, you know, we know
Feel
how
it
to
out.
move. But when I'm talking to clients who have not seen it, haven't heard from it, you know what I'm saying, don't know anything about it, that's something deep. You know, some women, they don't even know that they're supposed to breastfeed. They can't even associate their breast with feeding a baby, because it's so sexual and it belongs to somebody else. You know, this is what they're thinking. This is what they grow up
It's
seeing.
over-sexualized.
Like you said, it's the lack of, you know, and this is what they saw.
They
but then
vehemently disagree.
there are some women or some girls who see this stuff all the time. They don't see their breast sexual. You know, so when I go in and I know that my client has grew up a certain way, somehow we got to get that information across. But that's something that we always have to consider, is that, hey, these people have been eating McDonald's every day. It happens. It happens, and they still need help. They still need help. And more than likely, if they're eating McDonald's every day, more than likely they're going to have to get that C-section if they're having those habits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because C-section is something that can save lives based on, you know, it's supposed to be the last resort if needed for certain
Only if
emergency.
needed.
Emergency,
Only.
right. But they're overusing it. Like they do a lot of things, you know, just like the whole vaccine thing. You know, I already did my disclaimer, but, you know, when it comes down to the vaccine thing, it's like, I see the logic in I've seen vaccines actually be beneficial, like back during the times when everybody got yellow fever and, you know, some kind of way, or the malaria thing when you go to Africa, or, you know, it's certain things that it may help with. But when a newborn baby comes in and you trying to give them 5 things and you ain't even meet them yet in their bloodstream, you know, you don't even know their chemistry, you don't know nothing. It just don't make common sense.
But that's what I was going to say.
Even the system, though.
Even the system, even when they're being trained in the system. I mean, so I remember having a couple of clients, when they had a vaginal birth, and like the whole floor went crazy. Everybody came in, was just like, oh my God, because they had never seen it done. Like, and I'm looking at them, I'm 40 years old.
Who never seen it done?
The women, the nurses, the students that are there.
The obstetricians don't study natural birth.
You know what I'm saying?
They study cutting you.
So when she had her vaginal birth, that was an event. People got excited about that. And I'm looking at the women. I'm 40 years old, right? And I'm looking at the women and the students there. They're like 20, 24, 34. But it just gave me some insight on what they're being taught. And when they go in, that's what they doing. It's microwave. It's quick. 45 minutes. You can get it done in 45 minutes versus 25 hours of labor. You know what I'm saying? You train on 45 minutes, and here you are having a baby naturally.
And that's what they do. They rush it. They want to get you out of there. Just like when you're at a restaurant and it's time for somebody to clear the table,
like that.
and have another person in there. And that's another reason why they're scheduling these C-sections, because because with my first birth, it was like that. I was like, oh, I'm going to do all, even though I was 19 years ago, so it was just like, okay, even then I was like, I'm going to have a natural birth. I don't want no medication. One of my teachers, I was under my undergrad in college at the time, and I was like, one of my teachers told me, when you get drugs, the baby come in drugged up. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that. I was like 23. I'm not doing that. My baby's coming in right and pure. And so I get there, and those pains, I learned how to breathe. I didn't go to any Lamont class, but I learned how to breathe just then. And then when it got down to the pain, it was like, oh my God. But I just would relax. You just got to relax everything. And they were so surprised that I was doing that, and they couldn't believe it. The little nurses, oh my God, I never see anyone, you're not taking any pain medic. I'm like, I'm good. And so, they came in and said, because it was people in the room. At the time, my mom was with somebody I just didn't like. And I was like, Mom, I don't want him here. And it was just like, I learned later in my research that there's a sphincter law, that if you're not comfortable, you won't dilate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was uncomfortable with certain people in the room. And in my research, I found out that you're supposed to stand up. You're supposed to squat. You're supposed to walk around. You ain't supposed to lay on your back and just stay on your back the whole time.
And that's going to be painful for them.
It was more painful, right? And so, I didn't know any of this. So I'm laying on my back with somebody in the room, the whole time laying on my back, and somebody I didn't like in the room, and so I'm not dilating. So they come in and say, we got to give you this drug because you're not dilating.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And I fought it down. I was like, no, I'm not. And the doctor at the time that was in there for that shift said, you took this much. Because I said, would it be painful? Would it made it hurt more? She said, you took this much. You shouldn't say something like that. I was like, I don't want her touching me. Get her out of here. I'll get her away from me.
You was wasting her time.
Blessed to have the shift change, and a doctor who was doing my prenatal stuff came in, a black man with this long African name. I can't remember. But it was just like, oh my God, thank you. But they talked me into getting the drug. Then when I took the whatever they shot me up with to make me dilate more, then all of a sudden it's emergency. I got to do a C-section.
Yep, just like
the baby. Something's wrong with it's emergency with the baby, and now we got to just do the C-section to get him out. And so now I have a C-section at 23 years old, and I'm perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was not necessary.
It's because of what was created, the environment that was created for you, the ambiance that came to you. And when you are in labor, you are so receptive to whatever it is that is around you. That's the nature of pregnancy. You become so very receptive to your environment. So that's the time for someone to go in on you. And then you talk about labor. Oh, anything goes. This pain, this or whatever. So you have to have somebody to come in and redefine what pain is, to tell you what pain is and what it isn't, because it's a made-up word. They make these words up. So you come in and you tell somebody that this is pain, and when you have pain, you do this. It's a totally miseducated society. It's like, no, when I have clients, I tell them, no, you're going to feel something. Your body is going to feel something because your body is going through the process. We come to earth, to procreate, and it's like through that procreation, your body is going to transform. During that transformation, you're going to feel things in your body, but your mind is the same. Yes. It's the same. Transition. So you can transcend this through your mind, and you can redefine what your experience is. That's so right. I don't encourage my clients to watch any of those shows, like Baby, whatever, TLC and all that stuff, because they are identifying with someone else's reality that is not theirs. They don't understand that they can create their own reality. Your birth, your pregnancy can be what you want it to be through your own creative mind, because we're creators here on earth. We were born as creators. So with that, we have to create our experiences.
You can do some good creating during that time too.
It's real, and it works. It's like
manifestation.
My own pregnancy or my own birth, Mama Saran was there. She called and asked me if she could come. 2 nights before that, I had a dream, and she was in my dream. And what happened was, when she did come to my birth, the same image in my dream came to life. She had on the same clothes. She was walking from the same room, everything. So I did a lot of meditating during my pregnancy. So this is what I bring to my clients, to show them, like, you have to go into an altered state of consciousness, right, when you're dealing with labor, because of the shift in your body. You don't walk around like this every day.
How important is it that, we deal with, what's the relationship between our state of mind in the health of the baby. Just talk about that. There was
Dr. Lode. Dr. Lode,
yeah.
she spoke about this at the Maternal Health Awareness Conference at the Mother House a couple of months ago. And she was saying that, there's like this reptilian brain, and then there's this other brain. I can't remember that term.
It's the higher brain.
It's the higher brain, but when you are like in a negative state, if you're thinking a certain way or you're just surrounded by this stuff, there's chemicals that are released in your brain that governs the womb. And it gets attacked from the top and the bottom of the womb, releasing those chemicals inside of the womb. Inside of your womb, whether there's a baby there or not, being in that state of mind can affect your womb. Thus, fibroids,
menstrual cramps, like all those things.
Which I thought was fantastic. I ain't never heard nothing like that in my life, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense. That's a scientific way to explain that the baby will directly be affected by your moods, your surroundings, the energy you keep around you, the energy you're holding, anger, joy, whatever, the words you say, whatever it is you're going through in your daily life, how you dealing, it is directly affecting that fetus and that baby. In their process of development that's going to last them for the rest of their life starts with their with conception, not just when they come out. It starts, we got a whole nother parenting piece for newborns and beyond, but while they're there, that process was going to, their trauma, to be traumatized. Each individual, even a fetus, deals with trauma differently.
That's right.
And so to be traumatized in any way is going to affect the life of that person.
And we as a people,
like
we're always talking about resetting
trauma.
and trying to change this DNA and trying to change this mindset as a people. We got to start with conception. You know what I'm saying? How we conceiving, you know what I'm saying? What we doing during conception, how we thinking during conception. And I know that sounds kind of preachy, but, it's said that, during that moment, when you're in the moment of conception and you are about to release your baby or you're about to take in a baby, is that it's like a wormhole. It's an open window to the universe to manifest anything that you want right then and there. That's the window. It's the window. So if you are focused in on what it is that you want and you desire, your family life, whatever it is, while you're in that conception, during that moment, if you just take the time and just hone in on that while you're sending your baby to her or while you're receiving your baby from him, if you just take that moment right then and there, that's like the key to the universe. Nobody really wants to understand that. Nobody wants to listen to that.
How do you?
Like in the universe.
It's true.
DJ, teach them. All right. So how do we go from this to? We have come to the end of the show. From there to. It's just so much information today. Everything was so packed. But you sisters, you every time you come, you're just full of so much life and information and love and sweetness and sunshiny smiles and beauty and friendship. I love y'all.
That's the work of being a doula.
Yeah, it takes that kind of energy to be catching babies and having to do with that gateway.
It's
so
real.
all of y'all always so sweet and smooth to me. And so
so sweet, so smooth.
Right. And so as we're going out, just let people know where they can find you and what you have going on right now.
My name is Taidi. You can find me at www.knowwhothemamais.com. I also have a doula house. You can get to the doula house on Airbnb. We're located in Stone Mountain, 30083. And
that's it. And I am Nina, aka Quiet Storm. You can find me on IG, Instagram. I am the Matriarch's Doula, and that is the THE and matriarch_doula.
All right, you heard it right here on InI Radio. Get on the mic real quick, teach them.
Oh.
Yeah, man, because.
Oh, no. I just want to dedicate this song to them right here.
Okay, all right. So, DJ, teach them. Where can they find you?
Ready?
They gon' you can find them. You can find them right here on InI Radio.
Oh, you want me to tell them where they can find me?
Well, you can tell me, and I'll tell them whatever. Don't.
Right
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is your boy DJ Teach Them. You can always find me on Instagram at DJ Teach Them. you can always find me here on the radio station playing with my brother and my sister, you know, over here. Just blessing the sound waves with some good music. Just everybody stay blessed, not stressed. Let's just keep the good vibes going on. And big up to your sisters right here teaching, you know, our sisters out there about the seriousness, about the C-sections and everything. Like, it was intense, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right.
Shout out to Sakisa Berry out there.
Yeah, big up Sakisa.
And the Atlanta Doula Collective.
And the
you know
Atlanta
what I'm
Doula
saying?
Collective.
And DJ Heed, you can find him. He's doing our video right now. But, you know, he's still here. And you can find him on Beats for Your Mixtape. Just like that. Beats for Your Mixtape on Instagram. He's a producer as well. All right. Big up Studio Stephanie in the building.